Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. First in the house tonight is Carol. Hello, Carol. Thank you all for joining our usual Thursday tutorial time. So we're doing a little bit of a back to basics again this week. So we're going to be looking at memory wire, which is in this case bracelet memory wire, but there are in fact lots of different types of memory wire. You can get different thicknesses as well, but there's things like, for example, necklace memory wire. So you can get them a bigger size, so that's your bracelet memory wire. You can also buy ring memory wire, so I guess really for these you'd probably just pop seed beads onto them. So I've got a few samples to show you as well a bit later on with regards to the necklace ones, and a few ideas as to when you might use that sort of memory wire as well. So bear with me. Oh, all of a sudden all the comments have popped up. There we go. Bear with me. So, hello Trisha, hello Gemma, hello Sue, hello Francis, hello Carol. Thank you Trisha, you can see and hear me okay. Brilliant. Linda, hello, hello Kim. Right, let's get stuck straight in. So let's go on the overhead. So we'd love to know how many of you have worked with memory wire. And if you have, what have you used? What did you find worked well for you? Did you have any problems? So here we go. Where are we? Let's just adjust the angle a little bit on this. I had already done it, but I must have moved something out of the way. There we go. Normally I find that sort of 3 coils is enough for the bracelet memory wire. In this one, really anything goes, if I'm honest. In this one I've used the tubes. Now the tubes that are in the thread, I've got this really pretty like almost a little bit of engraving on it. So that's what the ones I'm going to use tonight. I've also got in this one some size 6, size 8 seed beads, some crystal rondelles. It's entirely up to you what you use. Those little turtles, aren't they so cute? I've got some somewhere, but I can't find them. So they may come up in the thread at some point. Right, first of all, first tip, when you're using memory wire, either use an old pair of cutters that you don't normally use, that it doesn't matter if you ruin them, or invest in a pair of memory wire cutters, because you keep them specifically for this purpose. Let's just pop a little bit off there just to show you how they work. They're a great investment. They're also great to use with chain as well. So first things first, you're going to need your round nose pliers to form a loop at the end. So these are round nose pliers if you've never worked with them before. This can be particularly stiff initially to work with. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn a loop. Now I like to turn the loops. I'm just checking the other one. I'm saying I like to turn them underneath. I thought I'd better check the other one to make sure that is the case. So I've turned a loop underneath. You can turn it the other way if you prefer. Try and get it to touch the other side if you can, just so that, for example, if you use any seed beads initially, at least it doesn't get underneath any gaps. I have to keep refreshing my feed because I'm not getting all of your updates, all of your messages. Hello Jane, hello Emma. Ring memory wire, Carol, yes, you think you might have it. You can also use a ring memory wire for popping around the base of glasses as well, as a glasses charm. Hello Deb. Linda's made a few necklaces and bracelets. bending the ends, Trisha said, as wire is quite tough. It really is. Like the idea of memory wire ring. Yes, but I'll have to try some out and see how it looks. Deb said she's used memory wire. The hardest thing she found was making the loop at the end. I think a lot of people will agree with you. Kim's made a couple of memory wire bracelets. Sue did a long time ago. Turn the ends I found not easy to turn. Definitely. Jane's been making memory wire bracelets for her stall on Saturday. Oh, she's found some child size, so made quite a few. Lovely idea and good point to make that it comes in different sizes. Emma's used memory wire to make bracelets, rings and bracelets. I can show you on the beaders page if you want. That would be fabulous. Please do that. That would be great. And likewise, if there's anything any of you have made since. So I've just chosen a selection of beads to use today. This one is the very tiny crystal rondelles. I think it's like £1.40 for a 16-inch strand. So I'm going to pop a few on this mat and then I'm going to pop the rest over there. I'm going to use some of the 6mm gemstones. Those are also in the thread. So we just get a selection of colours. I have to confess, I actually don't have any design in mind at the moment. This is very much going to be play it by ear. I've got, obviously I sorted my colours out earlier. These crystal rondelles, I thought these are a gorgeous sort of ambery colour. I thought those would be rather nice, so I've got some of those as well. Let's move that out of the way. What else have we got? We've got the tubes as well. And what else? I thought that I would use some size 8 seed beads. These are they crystal violet rainbow? It's the latest seed bead stash that I've just put in there. Now, the size 10 seed beads actually fit on. Now, 1, 2, 3. Right, I might trim it down a little bit later on, but I'm going to start with a size 8 to begin with so that I don't risk the size 10 falling underneath that little gap. Now, what I like with the seed beads is the fact that they just, if you vary them, so that's a size 8, a size 10 and a size 8, it just gives a nice little shape really. Now, the difficulty is with the memory wire bracelet is either you can add things and then push it all up at once or do it straight away. Now I am going to cut these down because it's just going to really annoy me. So that's 1 full circle, 2, 3. You don't have to have 3 full ones. Right. I need to get my bottom in gear and get this going, don't I? Right, let's have one of these crystals next. But isn't that wonderful, the fact that something just really tiny goes on there? I'm going to have a crystal rondelle, one of the bigger ones. And let's have some more seed beads. And let's have a cluster of the gemstones. So what I'm getting at here is you don't really need necessarily to have a pattern in mind, but I must confess what I do like to do on my memory wire bracelets is have some kind of formation on there in mind. So I'm just going to reverse that. So size 8. So we will have to have a bit of a chat because otherwise it might you're not going to want to just watch me thread on these beads. Now what I would say as well is these actually, it takes up quite a lot of beads. So that's where we're at the moment. I'm quite pleased with that style. Let's just put a little bit more in before we introduce one of the silver bars. So let's just repeat that again. Let's have a look. I'm in a chat to myself here. Does anybody else do that? I'm terrible. Whoops. But the seed beads are a great way as well of using up space without sort of using up too many expensive beads. Now, if you decide to teach this, just bear in mind that people are really going to use up your beads. So think about that, and likewise think about the cost if you're making it to sell. And that's where the filling in of the seed beads comes in really handy, because seed beads are pretty inexpensive, aren't they? I'm going to go and refresh the feed in a second so that I can just look at your comments. Oops. But what I love about this is I just love the simplicity of it. Now, I don't know how many of you have been abroad to somewhere like Tenerife, but I remember when I went to Tenerife, they'd have a lot of wraparound bracelets that had got the magnetic hematite. You see, that's another thing you could use with it, is the magnetic hematite. That would work. And you've got, it will sort of click in to each other, if that makes sense as well, with the magnets. Right, so let's put on one of these bars as well. Do you know what I love about these bars is the fact that they take up a nice chunk of space. Very quick. Now I might not fill the whole thing in because it might be a bit boring to watch, but we'll see how we go. So that's where we're at the moment. So I'll just hold that up to the camera whilst I just refresh your comments. Oh, Emma's made glass wine charms with them too. If you've got any you could share, that would be fantastic too. Hello, Jackie. Right, Jane, that's a good point. She said she made a couple of memory wire necklaces but found they didn't sit right. Not sure what was doing wrong, so we'll try again. There's plenty the necklace size. What I found with a necklace memory wire, Jane, is that if the memory wire is too big, you know, if you cut sort of over a full circle, I found that the circle actually overlapped, and like you, found that it didn't sit right. So it might be that perhaps you cut it shorter rather than longer and then pop an extender chain on there. But if it was different to that, do let me know, and perhaps we might have a few ideas we can bounce around with each other. I'm going to come back and have a look in a minute, but I thought I'd better get my skates on and get some more beads on. Right. Let's have a look at some more comments. that up so that you can see that. Kim always chats to herself, so does Deb. I'm glad it's not just me. Sue does a fancy ring. Please share it if you can find one that you've made. Carol talks to herself all the time, but if anyone catches me, she says she's talking to her cats. I like that. I always talk to myself and it's only me here. Now, I'd like some cats to talk to, I'm not going to lie. But my partner, not so keen. We used to have 4 cats. I love cats. I love cats and dogs, but we never had any dogs growing up. So I'm not, how can I explain it? You get used to different things, don't you? And I think I'd have to do a lot of research before I had a dog. Right, I'm going to pop another one of these on there. But my brother has the most adorable French bulldog, and I love it. I love it when he brings her around. She's just such a gorgeous character. And they know how to work the system, don't they? A bit like kids. Right. Getting through these beads quite quickly. The other thing I thought about that would be quite nice with these is I've done some gemstone chip bundles. And I think the gemstone chip bundles would be really nice as well. So you've got obviously different gems along the way, and you could space them out. I'm going to take the green out. I'm not keen on the green going in. And you could space them out with seed beads in between and the tubes in between. But anybody else got any ideas on what designs have perhaps worked well for them? Need some more crystals. Now this isn't really my colour palette, but I really, really like it. I love sort of the oranges and the autumnal colours, but I'm not sure it's really my sort of colouring. Right, let's put another one of these in because I'm liking filling it up. So make sure you push it right to the end. That's super pretty, isn't it? I really like those crystal seed beads. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the exact pattern all the way through. Well, at least that's what I'm saying, because I know I'm certainly not following the exact pattern. I might need some more seed beads soon. Right, let's get some more gemstones. Right, I might do a bit of a variation and maybe have 5 this time. Oops. Now, I did actually use the angel decoration kit with memory wire as well. That angel decoration is actually on my website. I think I did a tutorial on it, but I cannot honestly say, I can't remember. Whilst it's on my mind, just to say, next week's live auction is going to be postponed till the following week because my delivery of beads, my shipment hasn't arrived yet, so it's going to be the following week, but it definitely well, I say definitely, everything crossed, it should be with us then. But I've got some nice new bits. Nice new bits and pieces that I think you're going to love. Right. How are we doing for time? We're doing okay. Isn't that lovely? I love those little tubular beads. Okay, so I'll just carry on. Let's just refresh your comments. Hello, Sally. Don't worry. It's just lovely to have you join. Carol said memory wire bracelets make me think of summer. Yes, yes, I agree. Jane said that's exactly what she was thinking, but used some quite heavy beads, so may have been that. That's a really good point to make as well, is the fact that with memory wire, you do need to think about the weight, because obviously the bigger the beads, the more weight that you're putting on there. And I would also always put a clasp on the necklace, whereas with the bracelet, not so. But I will show you the samples a little bit closer up afterwards as well. I'd like to just show you a nice little touch to add to the bottom of it as well, with a head pin. So Jackie's been making earrings with memory wire hoop earrings, and the ring size memory wire. Been making earrings with the memory wire hoop earrings with the ring size memory wire. What a great idea. Do you have any pictures you can share with us and pop in our Beaders of Beads by Vachil at all that you'd be comfortable to share with? Because I'd love to see that, and I'm sure other folk would really love that too. Deb said she couldn't get on with the necklace size, so only used bracelet and ring sizes. Sue says that sounds good, Jackie. I agree. Jackie says she will put up pics soon. Brilliant. Francis, can you use crimp beads like in last week's tutorial to create groups of beads on the wire? I have to confess, Francis, I've never tried. We can try it on a sample piece afterwards. I'm not quite sure how it would look on the memory wire. I always say never, but we give it a go. Oh, we're nearly there. Very nearly there. So let's add another one of those. You don't have to use the 3 up. Does that make sense? You don't have to use all 3 memory wire circles. You can use more as well if you want to. The choice is yours. Whoops. Right, let's grab some more beads. Playing tiddlywinks with the beads. But also memory wire bracelets are quite popular in your mainstream jewellery places as well. When I say mainstream, you know, like your fashion accessories as well, like your New Looks and Marks and Spencers and places like that. So if you need a little bit of inspiration on design, you could always have a look online at what the latest ranges that are out. Also a good idea, because you might be able to get an idea as to what colour palettes are around at the moment, because they do change. Oh, How far are we? Not far at all. I'm just down to the smallest seed beads now. I do love those tiny little crystals. Now these tubes do create a little bit more of a square look than the ones I've got in the other bracelet. Do you see that one there, more sort of curved? But I rather like that. Right, okay, let's keep going. We're nearly there. But you could also make, whoops, yeah, separate earrings to match. I do love the idea of using and seeing how you use the hoop earrings from the ring memory wire. Right, just a few more. I've got to start another strand. I'm not going to put green on it because it just doesn't fit for me. So the green beads are going to one side. Let's see if we, I don't even know if we'll get all of these on. Maybe not. Now you need around about 1 centimetre at the end, which we've got. You can obviously cut it down if you want to, you know, if you've finished your bracelet before the end of the memory wire. So what I'd say to get a nice loop on it is hold the bracelet in your non-dominant hand and hold the last bead, and then with your dominant hand is turn a loop. And just make sure, like I say, that your loop touches the other side. So let's just show you what that looks like. Let's pop it on as well. They're so comfy to wear. So that's how the necklace, the bracelet works. Now, what I wanted to show you as well, if you look at this one, I've actually got these really ornate little dangle bits at the bottom. And to do that, all we're going to do is have a couple of head pins. I am going to use the crystal rondelles. So pop one of the crystals. So this is making them really the same way as you would a pair of earrings. So you're going to actually chop it down so you've got about 1 centimetre from the end of the bead. Turn it at a right angle, but make sure there's a bit of space between where you're turning and the bead so that you don't crack your bead. And then pop your round nose pliers on, make sure it's flush, secure it in your non-dominant hand, and then bring that into a loop. Now if it's not quite sitting right, because that's a little bit bent, is just straighten that up afterwards. And then we're going to open up that one side of the loop, pop it on the end and secure it back down. But I think that just adds such a nice little touch to it. Let's do the same the other side. I like to come towards the end of my round nose pliers as I'm getting to the end of that loop. It just helps to form a better loop. So just lift the side of that and pop that on there. Close that up. So there you go. I'm just going to have a look at your comments, and then what we're going to do is have a look at some of the other samples that we can do with regards to necklace memory wire as well. Yes, auction being postponed gives us another week to save up. Yes, so true. Thank you, Francis. Deb makes lots of kid-sized memory wire braces that they're hard to break. That's a really good shout. Hello, Trisha. Good to see you. Trisha said she needs a larger size wire for some people. You do find as well that with heavier beads, these do stretch out as well. Carol said you could hang a pretty charm from the turn at each end. Absolutely, yes. Jackie said I will, Rachel, been doing them gemstone chips and mixing them up like I've done, putting colours together. Fantastic. If you do 3 loops, you need to check you have enough beads after doing 1 loop. If you have a pattern, otherwise you may end up with a more random than you'd like. That is a brilliant point to make. That's a really good point to make. And what you could do is, once you know how much one sort of round takes up, you could just lay your beads out on the mat just to see how many you've got. And Des says she tries to make each end complement each other. Really good things you're all bringing together tonight. You're loving the bracelet. I'm so pleased you like it. I really love it. And like I say, the fact is, I wouldn't have thought that size 10 seed beads fit. I mean, goodness, we have hundreds of those. You could even just make a complete bracelet of the seed beads as well if you wanted to. Right, so for those bead embroiderers amongst you that aren't quite sure what to do with your pendants, you could use this for your necklace memory wire. Now let me just go zoom out a bit. There we go. Now I have to confess, some of these don't look pristine because I've had them a while or worn them, but they make really good sample pieces. So this is one that I did. This is an adventuring piece. I really ought to be wearing that. I really love it. So it's a bead embroidery piece that I've done, and I made 2 loops at the top and made necklace memory wire. So effectively all it is your memory wire. I've actually put Delicas, which is just the type of brand and style of seed bead, and then I've actually turned a loop and popped a clasp on the end there. Let's just show you some of the others. Now I think this is what Jane was meaning as well, and I totally see what Jane's saying. Now can you see, if you stretch that out, when you let that go, it overlaps. So my suggestion is that you actually cut the memory wire down so that it doesn't do that, and then put an extender on. So it might not actually sit like that at the back, but nonetheless that would really annoy me. So that's quite a good sample to show you. This was, some of you bought the bird cabochons in the last auction. That might be something that you want to do with some of the cabochons. Again, that's your bead embroidery. It doesn't have to be bead embroidery. You could just use it for beads or seed beads, and you could pop a nice little pendant that you've bought on there as well. It's just reminding me I've not worn a lot of these. This is a piece of amethyst that I've got. You can see how well used it is, and you can see obviously popping an extender on there. So that's just showing you lots of seed beads, and again that's another bead embroidery piece. So those are the two bracelets. As you can see, this is more sort of seed bead crystal rondelles. This one's a little bit chunkier with the crystal gemstones. So I hope it's given you some inspiration. Now, we have covered quite a lot of basic techniques over the last few weeks, but nonetheless, I just think you can get some really beautiful results with them. And you've also got beautiful results that you can combine with other things as well. So you're all loving the bracelet. That's really good to hear. And hopefully you're going to feel inspired to try and dip your toes. I know a lot of you will have your memory wire in your stash already. It's something that always seems to make its way into your bead box, doesn't it? Hadn't thought of using the seed beads. Well, and equally, you know, you could use more memory wire coils and have a nice sort of cuff bracelet with the memory wire as well. So that's something else to think about. I suppose there's no reason why you couldn't actually have a couple of wraps around your neck, but just test it out first. Personally, I wouldn't like the tightness of it around my neck. I'm not even sure it'd fit, to be perfectly honest with you. But for someone that's petite and delicate that could get away with it, it might work. It might just work. Anyway, don't forget, please share your makes in Beaders of Beads by Virchil. And just a reminder about our social event on the 20th of May. I know it's a long way for a lot of you to come. That's totally understand that, but hopefully we will do more, and maybe in an area that's nearer you as well. So anyway, you guys take care. I'll speak to you all very soon, and if I don't see you before, I'll see you on Sunday for this week's news. Speak to you soon. Bye.